Good Friday evening, everybody. I'm Michael Loomis hanging out here with you in the Chew Digest virtual studio on YouTube. It is a beautiful evening, getting ready to wind down here pretty quick. Going to keep this video pretty short because I am done for the night and I just wanted to get back on here just to be consistent with my daily broadcasts, my journal entries from the week, and today was a beautiful day. It was hot. Didn't feel quite as hot as it did yesterday, um, but nonetheless, got out today. Got to experience some beautiful things in nature. Got to be thankful and full of gratitude. Got to say hi to some neighbors, and that's one of the things about getting out every day, walking up and down the streets here in my neighborhood. Start to get to know people on a first name basis. You start to see the same mail carriers over and over again, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool. Today I walked almost 6 miles, which I don't know what I'm thinking. I had a burst of energy in me, I guess. And I was listening to an audio book that I just got on the topic of iodine. And let's see, what's it called? Goodness gracious me, oh my. The Iodine Crisis. And it's pretty darn good. It answers a lot of questions, but it answers a lot of questions I didn't even know I had. So it was kind of like weeding through a lot. And I guess in some sense that's what a lot of our self-education is about, is just running information and ideas past us so that we can take the time to chew it up, digest it, and categorize it, see if it sparks any further questions in our own head. And, quite frankly, iodine is one of those topics that has left me with more questions than not, because as much as I understand that we need to, that it's a necessity in our life, it's a what do they call it? It's an essential part of our chemistry and our makeup, but it's not something that we produce. So we have to get it in our diet. And in our Western world, most of our foods we eat are pretty scarce in iodine. And so, when they figured out many, 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 many years ago, decades ago, that human beings were becoming deficient in iodine, their solution was to add it to things like bread, salt, so that they could just basically sneak it in there so everybody can get just enough to keep from being, from becoming, what's the word that they use for it? It's something like moronic or whatever. It's really kind of an off name, but basically our thyroid gland right here is a gland that it's kind of like a catcher's mitt. Imagine a catcher's glove that could change in size as it needs to catch more iodine. And so you have this little area right here that's around your hyoid bone, and it is butterfly shaped, and then on the back side of it, there are four other glands. They're called your parathyroid glands. And the thyroid gland is one of the areas within your body that absorbs iodine from our diet. Other ones are breast tissue, um, and uh, let's see what else. One of the other ones is your salivary glands, which makes your saliva more antibiotic, which in turn helps keep the bacteria in your mouth kind of level, which is an interesting thing. I never realized how important that would be, but it makes a lot of sense. But to look at real quick here, the last 7 days, I decided to name my Chat GPT Bob. If any of you have ever watched that TV show For All Mankind, from the first couple seasons, the characters referred to each other as Bob because when they were up on the moon in that series, they only had a few VHS tapes that had like 6 episodes of Bob Newhart on them, and so in those 6 episodes, they heard the term "Hi Bob" quite a bit, and so every time they would run into each other, they would refer to each other as "Hi Bob," and so I asked Bob, so what were the top 7 things that I spoke with you or asked questions about over the last 7 days? And it would seem that I've had a pretty narrow focus this week on iodine, vitamin C, of course, my normal longevity and centenarian behavioral patterns, nutritional physiology, dietary theory, of course, shouldn't be surprised about that. Oxalates, metabolism, and mineral interactions, content creation and YouTube development. What I'm doing here. Technology and infrastructure questions, mainly because I want to get my understanding about where we're moving forward with technology so that I can stay ahead of it if I need to make money or just whatever. I don't want to ever be that guy again that's holding on to the tail of the dog. I'd rather have the dog chasing at me, nipping at my heels, if you know what I mean. But specifically this week, number 1 was iodine and its interactions in the body. I did ask several questions about that, including its interactions with vitamin C, and also if there was anything related to its stability once we put it inside of our body. One thing I do know is that the common answer you're going to get if you go to your doctor and ask them about, should I take any supplementary iodine, they're probably going to say no, don't. But if you listen to any influencers online or you start looking it up, the discussions about it, you're going to get people talking about taking a supplement called iodoral, which is sold in 12.5 milligram, 25 milligram, and I think even 50 milligram pills, which is huge compared to what most medical doctors would recommend, which is like 300 to 400 micrograms. So I don't know. I'm a little I'm a little edgy on taking too much. I know there have been times in the past where I took crap loads of it just to kind of see what would happen. Enough to the point where my fingernails and my toenails turned orange. That was strange. Anyhow, um, I will get back to that more as time allows. Vitamin C, again, I've said enough about that because, quite frankly, it is something we need and it does help. What I can say to kind of go back to the iodine thing is um, I've been using Lugol's iodine, put it in some water, and I'm not going to even say how much I took, and if anybody wants to take some supplementally, look it up for yourself, do your own research. I have no interest in telling somebody how much to take and to find out later that they had a bad experience. What I will say is that the amounts that I have been taking over the last few days have seemingly given me more energy. I'm walking faster. I feel like I can walk a little bit further. Um, it's kind of interesting. I even feel one of the things that people that have sufficient iodine in their diet, they don't get as cold as people that are in that have insufficiency of iodine in their soft tissues, in their thyroid, in their salivary glands, in their breast tissue and prostate and all that. Those other tissues. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same of what I've been talking about for the last 22 videos. I didn't really cover anything new this week. Just kind of, I guess you'd say, recapitulated a few things in my own head. Some other questions I had from interacting with an acquaintance of mine on Facebook. She lives up in Canada, and her name is Maria or Mariah, and she's one of these people that eats fruit only. And she truly believes that a human being can survive fully on a fruit only diet. And I was able to for some time, a number of years ago, about 5 years ago. I did it myself, and it feels good for a time. It's like taking an internal shower, that's for sure. But I got to a certain point where my body just started saying, bro, you need more than this. Can people get away with it? Seems like there are some people that can get away with it for many years. Will there ever be deficiencies in their diets that will eventually crop up in time? I would say very likely there should be, as far as I know from my own studies. It just doesn't seem like it's possible that. I mean, I know what the scientific literature says. It says, no, you cannot get everything you need from fruit only. The only people that believe that and sell that idea are influencers that are ignoring what the scientific literature says. And just because their experience has been amenable to them and their physiology, they just get it up here that anybody can do it, when I'm not convinced that's the case. I think if there is muscles, if there is anybody that can do it, it's because they're very unique individuals, just like those people that can smoke 2 packs of Pall Malls a day and still live into their 90s. They're not the example of what everybody should expect. They are truly the fringe, and we should not be pointing to them and saying, "Ah, see, they got away with it," because it surely don't mean you are. Don't work like that. Most people fall into the middle of that bell curve, and they're not usually outliers. Otherwise, that's, I mean, the outliers make up only maybe what, 2.5% on each end at the most, or 2.5% total. I don't remember. Stats was not my favorite class. Um, and so I'm just gonna, keep focusing on trying to wrap my head around everything that we need. I do want to ensure that, and anybody can do this. Go on ChatGPT, Google Gemini, wherever, and just say, what are the essentials that humans need dietarily to function properly? And then beyond that, what is negotiable if you want? And you should be able to get a pretty good idea. I mean, I eat pretty much an animal based diet, but you know what? You're not ever going to find me giving up popcorn or salads. I just I feel better when I put a salad in me, and the salads I choose to eat are the ones with the gentle leafy greens. I I avoid salads that have things like kale in it. I mean, I tried a salad that had kale in it a few weeks ago, and for the life of me, I couldn't chew that shit stuff up. Period. It just would not reduce down any further in my mouth. I finally just had to. I guess I could have spit it out, but I just swallowed it, and I imagine it's passing through me like a pipe cleaner. Indigestible fiber. There's a reason they call it that, because it's indigestible and it ends up coming out the other end. So, anyways, I am going to be checking out now. I am going to go and I'm going to turn on this little TV right here and watch another episode or two of For All Mankind on Apple TV. Anyways, I'm Michael Loomis. It has been nice hanging out with you guys tonight. I will be back here tomorrow, maybe with a little bit more information. I do tend to get a few more questions in my head when I've listened to a lecture. Again, like I said, I've been listening to this audiobook on iodine. No real new information there for me other than what I've already known. So I don't have a lot of questions on that, other than to say that it is an essential that we need to get in our diet somehow. I know cultures that eat a lot of seaweed, they're getting it in their diet, in their seaweed diet. In the West here in the United States, we don't eat seaweed, period, for the most part. And if we do, it's dried up and it's sold in bags at health food stores. And so if we're going to get it, there is the way that I choose to get it is by using Lugol's solution. And I just, at this point in time, I'm taking smaller doses. And like I said, there are some influencers that would say you can take 25 or 50 milligrams, along with lots of extra sodium. And they talk about, like, all of a sudden they have clarity of mind and energy to waste. And I don't know, I'm not ready to do that yet, but anyhow, we'll see where things go in the future. I'll let you know how iodine has been working for me in the coming weeks. and I will see you all tomorrow. Take it easy.